Chapter 60. I guess all the sex that was going on around us got Daddy interested in it too, or maybe he just wasn't going to hide it anymore. I had come home from school and had seen a car that I didn't recognize parked outside our house. I was quiet as I came into the house and I heard a woman's voice giggle from inside the closed door of Daddy's bedroom. I just smiled and quietly went to my room and shut the door. About 90 minutes later, he called to me downstairs for supper. I knew whoever had been with him had since left. We talked a while as though nothing out of the ordinary had happened. Then I just smiled at him and he said, "Don't even say a word." I didn't, but I kept smiling. Then I hugged him and went on to wash the dishes without being prompted to. Without Daddy's consent, I withdrew most of my savings. I took the money to Bob and told him how to invest it. He promised to take care of it. I had used my gift to foresee what stocks would do well in the market. I wanted to build up enough money to let Daddy retire. I figured that I'd have enough in 10 months to a year's time. I figured that Bob also did some investing of his own that day. I saw Cole a couple days later. He was hanging out by the pizza parlor with the local hoods. By hoods, I mean guys who were a shade better in temperament than I was. "Hey, Christmas tree, want to fight?" one of the hoods asked me. "Some other time," I replied. "Cole, could I talk to you for a minute?" I asked. He followed me a few feet away from the hoods. "What do you want?" "Want to come over to my house for a while? Daddy isn't home," I replied. He lit a cigarette and took a drag. "Yeah, okay," he said as he exhaled a big puff of smoke. I drove into my house and we had sex, but it still wasn't any good. Then I dropped him off at another hangout he wanted to visit. Saturday, Daddy asked me if I wanted to go to Sumter with him to pick up some supplies. Sumter was over 2 hours' drive away. I declined and he left without me. Cole stopped by and made me glad I'd stayed home. I took him to my bedroom and we started fooling around. The first time was too quick. I told him that we were going to do it until I felt something too. We made out some more and I got on top. I was totally surprised when I came a couple minutes later. I really didn't think I would. I had just been talking shit when I told him we'd do it until I felt something. I slipped off him and began to get dressed. He was still lying on my bed. "You know, I'm not sure why you're sleeping with me," he remarked. "I like you. I just didn't expect you to blab our business to the whole world. It made me look like a fool," I said heatedly. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said anything." He took off his school ring. "Will you be my girlfriend?" "Yeah," I told him as I slipped the too large ring on my finger. We grinned foolishly at each other, then I suggested that we go downstairs since Daddy would be arriving home in a short while. I watched Cole slip on his clothes. He had the nicest body, lean and strong. He was one of those guys who could pose for Playgirl magazine. All the girls wanted him for a boyfriend, and now he was mine. In the living room, I turned on the TV because he wanted to watch studio wrestling. I watched with him for a while, then I said, "Hey, I'll wrestle you." He thought I meant sex. "Do you want to fool around again?" "No, I want to wrestle you like they're doing on TV." "Okay, but you're going to lose." We got into a wrestling position and began tossing each other around. That's when Daddy walked in. "Hi, kids," he said. Cole jumped to his feet and mumbled, "It's not what you think, Mr. DeVito. Angel and I were wrestling like on TV." "Yes, I know she likes wrestling," he said as he sat down on the couch. "Since you brought it up, I think we might as well discuss responsibility." He motioned for us to sit on the couch. He went on to lecture Cole as well as me about sexual responsibility. He said we were physically old enough to have a sexual relationship, and if that's what we were going to have, then it was our business. He really didn't care to hear about it. Cole didn't know what to think, and he immediately went home after the lecture. Daddy shook his head and wondered at me. "I thought you didn't like him that much. I see you're wearing his class ring." "I've changed my mind. I guess I do like him," I replied. I was wondering whether I had just violated my probation. I noticed I was really hoping that you and Kevin or you and David would get together, but maybe this will work out for you." He gave me a hug. Life was good. Sunday, the band and Cole came over to my house. We were going to practice in my music room because Rick's mom was having a card party and didn't want us to disturb her. Kevin wasn't his usual cheerful self. He had a big black and blue mark on his arm and a scratch on his face. "Kevin, what happened to you?" I asked. "Got into a fight with mean old George," he muttered, not meeting my eyes. "Again? You were just fighting with him a couple days ago," David remarked. "He won't leave me alone." "I'm going to beat him up. Nobody should be hurting you. Just point him out to me and he's toast," I told him angrily. "No, don't touch him," Kevin replied too quickly. "Angel," Rick growled at me, "what did I tell you about fist fighting?" I glanced at Rick and gave him a dirty look. How dare he tell me that I couldn't punish the person who'd hurt my friend and lover? "Can we talk about something else?" Carol asked. "Hey, Angel, Cole said that you'd like to be on top," David smirked. I stared in disbelief at Cole, who was trying hard to act innocent. I should have figured he'd brag to them again. What the hell, I thought to myself. They knew everything else we'd done. What was the harm in bragging some more? Did he also mention that I had my first orgasm with him yesterday? Between my bluntness and the baffled look on Cole's face, we all collapsed into a fit of embarrassed laughter. "I didn't know you came," he mumbled. "Man, are you fucking dumb," Kevin exclaimed. "At least I know when my girlfriend gets off." "And I know how to get you off," Kevin said just loud enough for me to hear. I was glad no one else noticed or asked me what he just said. "I could give all you guys some pointers," Rick remarked to the guys. "I'm a good lover, right, Angel?" Cole insisted. "There isn't much to compare it to." Wait a minute, that's not what I meant," I said, laughing. "I'll give you something to compare it to," Kevin smirked as he undid the snap on his jeans. "Go for it," Carol urged. "Yeah, Angel needs the experience," David laughed. I couldn't help but look. Carol said loudly, "Hi, Mr. DeVito." Kevin quickly rezipped his jeans. "Shit," I muttered under my breath, even though I'd seen Kevin naked before. Rick and David smirked at me. "I thought you kids were supposed to be practicing that new song," Daddy remarked. "We're taking a break," I replied. "And it involves Kevin's zipper, I suppose?" "Yeah, I'm afraid so," I smirked, but I wasn't embarrassed. The rest of the group didn't know how to react, and Kevin's face was beet red. Daddy eyed David, who was about to light a cigarette. David, Cole, and Rick were the ones who smoked. "David, if you have to smoke, step outside. I don't want you smoking in my house. You guys can carry on all you want, but I don't want any of you drinking, smoking, or taking drugs in my house." He put the cigarette back into the package. "Believe me, I'm not about to violate my probation," I replied. "Good, let's keep it that way," Daddy replied. He left the room. "Your dad is something else," Kevin remarked. "He's the greatest." "She told her dad that we fuck around," Kevin informed him. "No, you didn't," Kevin said to me in disbelief. "Yeah, that's why I'm on probation." The group giggled but wanted to know why I still fooled around with Cole if it would get me in trouble. "We have an understanding, and if you want the $50 lecture, I'll call him back in and he'll be glad to explain everything to you, I guarantee it." They didn't believe me, so I called Daddy back in. He came in and gave them the $100 lecture. It was weird, though. I think he really embarrassed Rick, Carol, and Kevin, since I mentioned that they were sexually active, but when he left the room, they all had this look of admiration on their faces for him. He talked to them about drugs and drinking, too. I wondered if he knew they already were into drugs. If so, he never let on. On another night that the band came over, my dad stayed around and listened for a while, then he headed over to Bob's. We practiced a few songs, then Rick and Carol went home. Kevin was trying to learn to play Master of Puppets by Metallica on guitar. He wasn't the greatest guitar player. David was a lot better than he was, but even he took some time getting the song right. I, however, had it nailed in a day. The whole song was down-picking besides the solo, which was mostly hammer-ons and pull-offs. But tonight I was playing drums while they practiced. I was glad that my dad was at Bob's because he didn't much care for heavy metal. "This is so damn hard," Kevin exclaimed in frustration. "Easy for you to say when you're a drummer, smart ass." "I'd like to see you give it a try on guitar," David replied. He had just given it a run-through and could play it pretty decently. "I think I can play it," I remarked doubtfully. I was joking inside, and they were laughing at me. I went and got my favorite white Gibson. I only played it once or twice a week since I was technically a drummer for the band, and when I played at home. I was pretending to be serious, and I easily messed the song up a few times just in the first minute to make fun of it. The guys were scoffing at me. I let them get into really thinking that I couldn't play that blasted song. Then I took my cool guitar pose and lit into it, every note perfect, my timing perfect. "You're such a show-off. Why aren't you lead guitar?" Kevin demanded as the song ended. "Hey," David interjected, "I'm lead guitar. She ain't fucking taking my spot." I put down my guitar and walked over to him. "I'll take your spot if I want to," I teased. I playfully pushed at his chest. He was a lot taller than me. "No, you won't, pipsqueak," he said as he pushed at my shoulder. And then somehow he was running and I was running after him, wrestling him to the floor. It was all in fun. Kevin got into it with us, and the three of us were rolling on the floor laughing as we tried to get the best of each other. Then David and I had Kevin pinned down, tickling him. "Stop it, you're going to make me pee my pants," he said through his laughter. I gave up and plopped on the floor in a sitting position laughing. David did too. "I won," I announced. "You didn't win. I was the one holding him down," David protested. "Yeah, you both wait until later," Kevin warned. "Practicing music sure has changed since I was a kid," my dad remarked from the doorway. He'd obviously been there a while as he was leaning against the door frame with his arms and legs crossed. It was hard to tell if he was amused or annoyed that I was tangled up in between two males. I was thinking that he didn't know his reaction either. Both Kevin and David jumped up in alarm, both of them red-faced. "We didn't hurt her," David quickly told him. "Good, but I think I'd watch her. She might just hurt you." He smirked and he walked out of the room. "Is he mad?" David asked me in a whisper. I looked at him as if he were silly. "No," I replied sarcastically as I rolled my eyes. "If he were mad, he'd be yelling or have his gun on you. For some reason, he likes you dumbasses." They both decided to call it a night. I was aggravated that they were leaving since we'd been having so much fun. There was just nothing better than having someone to wrestle with. "They didn't have to leave," Daddy told me as I put my guitar in its case. "They're stupid sissy boys," I replied in irritation. "That you have wrapped around your little finger," he smirked. "Since you have time now, I need you to clean up the kitchen like I asked you to do 3 hours ago." I grumbled and banged the pots and pans around as I washed them. "Take it easy on the dishes, huh?" he scolded as he walked through the kitchen. He wanted to discuss the ranch and what crops to plant. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the stupid ranch. I grumbled back my answers as I finished washing the dishes. He continued to talk. I just stared at him at one point. He shook his head in aggravation at me and remarked, "I'm going to call the guys to come back here. You've been a sourpuss ever since they left." "They're just stupid boys," I remarked. I hung up the dish towel and wiped down the counter and the stove. He made it a point to call Bob up and complain of how the only time he ever saw me laugh was when the boys were visiting, that otherwise I was a grouchy bear. I stomped to my room. He was as stupid as the stupid boys.